I'm Daniel, the past life regressionist, and it's time to begin.
Lift off and the clock has started.
This is Timeless Spirituality. Enjoy each of your time.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Timeless Spirituality. So for today's episode, I have to put a trigger warning on this one. There are some deep subject matters at play here, revolving around abortion and sexual abuse and molestation. Now, while it is heavy for the first couple minutes, this episode really does open up into a light spot. And I think it is really a beautiful episode because there's just it's just this beautiful perseverance that really transpires. And I feel that it's something that you will walk away from feeling very uplifted. So I want to really give a shout out to my guest Lyna for just being so strong and open and vulnerable with her experience and being a true source of inspiration to, not only me, but I believe to hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people out there. And I just want to really shower Lyna with respect right now and praise with just that openness and just for being so damn strong. And you're going to hear me bring it up a lot throughout the episode. But I think this is a really important one to listen to. So I hope you guys enjoy episode number 13. The power of forgiveness. And also, what have I learned about myself through this episode? Well, I guess on the technical or production side of it, this was an episode that we recorded back in, I believe, August of 2021. So it's been a while since we recorded it, and I was reluctant to release it because of the subject matter. I think it made me a little skittish to partake in a conversation of this magnitude. And I think it took me a while to come to grips with it, that it was okay to have this conversation out in the open, because there's really nothing inherently wrong with talking about this, because I believe that it will help a lot of people. So it was something that I had to really come to terms with. But I think that just dwarfs in comparison to just, again, how strong Lyna is, and you're going to hear me bring that up over and over and over again. So, we're going to take you guys back to the first handful of episodes that I recorded, so I guess you could say it's a little journey through time. And if you are interested in booking a regression to discover who, when, and where you have been throughout time, you can reach me on Instagram at The Past Life Regressionist or my website, thepastliferegressionist.com. Hey, Lyna, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Dan.
So before we jump in, oh, wait, I probably should say you're very welcome. And thank you. I don't know what the formalities are with all of this, but yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Neither.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Just that never ending cycle. So Lyna, want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Lyna Phan. I am a spiritual medium and intuitive life guide. So as a spiritual medium, what I do is I serve as a conduit for soul-to-soul conversations between spiritual and physical beings with the intention of healing both worlds. And as an intuitive life guide, I guide others through to clarity with their life experiences. I've been doing this work full-time for the last 2 years. And prior to that, I was in human resources for 15 years.
Well, thank you for sharing. All right, so let's do some past life talk right now.
Yes.
So with that said, I always tell everyone that it's best to not come in with any expectations for how you think a session's going to go, because it's never going to go the way you think it's going to go. So with that said, was it what you expected it to be?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. Okay. I wasn't sure what to expect exactly, but it wasn't what I expected. I knew that whatever was going to happen, it was going to change my life. I just didn't know how it was going to change my life. And before our session started, Daniel, I actually recorded just like a brief clip of how I was feeling. And I had said in that clip that, again, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know my life is going to change. So when we got into it and, went through the process and journeyed through not only past lives, but this life, it definitely was not what I expected, in a really, really good way, though.
Yay.
It was a wonderful experience, and yeah, I wouldn't have changed one bit about it. Learning everything that I learned and how it's helped me evolve, I feel gratitude for that.
As a practitioner, your session and what you've done post your session is what I hope to see everyone do. Just the way that you've really put that information to good use. And I think it's amazing. So I want everyone to hear that beforehand, just so they have it in the back of their minds, what this could potentially look like for them. But then it all comes down to you at the end of the day and what you decide to do with that information.
Correct. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And I'm surprised, but not too surprised. And I'm grateful that I was able to process it the way that I did. I have an amazing support group. You were just phenomenal, Daniel, in facilitating that whole process. And I think that's really important for people who are interested in doing past life regression, is to find someone that they can connect with on the level that I was able to connect with you. And I felt safe. That was a huge thing for me. Like, that was important to me. Like, I felt safe, because when you go under hypnosis, that can be very vulnerable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just really important to find someone that you can connect with that.
You can't see it right now, but I'm smiling.
Aww.
Thank you
Hi,
for
me
that.
too.
Yay!
Yay! This is our conversation 24/7.
Yes. Let's do like a yay count. I mean, I'm up to 2 so far.
You're up to 2.
Was that your first yay?
I think that might have been my first. More to come.
Okay, cool.
More to come. Yeah.
All right. So my next question for you is, would you like to recap the experience for everyone?
Yeah. So the first thing that came up was the lifetime that helped me understand my intense fear of speaking. Not only speaking in public, but just speaking my truth. So in that lifetime, I was a priest. I was a male, and I saw the mistreatment of the children and the mistreatment from the church. And I knew it was wrong, but I was really afraid to speak up about it and say anything, because I knew that if I did, I would have been killed. And so I lived with that fear in this lifetime, at the same time trying to support those kids the best way I could, which was building relationships with them and talking to them. And even that was something that was hidden from the rest of the, I don't know, clergymen. Is that what you call them?
Your guess is as good as mine on that one.
Yeah. So, going into that lifetime was interesting. It was definitely profound in the sense of, I finally had an idea of like, okay, why am I so afraid to speak up in this lifetime? And so we went through that for, it felt like maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And then we spent a good amount of time in this lifetime with me as a baby. And I've talked a lot about this. Like you said, I've been really open about it. I found out that I was sexually molested by someone close to my family when I was 1 to 2 years old. And so we went, I went through the experience of that, which was really, really shocking. When I first started to see what was happening and it started to unravel, I initially wanted to push it away, because I was just like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to believe like this actually happened. But after a moment of that, I just let it play out. And yeah, it was shocking to say the least.
How was it for you to uncover that information?
Just, it broke my heart. So many things went through my head. Like, you're supposed to be someone who's protecting me. You're supposed to be someone who loves me. And from being honest, this word is, I don't like using it so much, but it's just how I felt. So I need to just say it. But I just felt disgust. I was just like, are you kidding me? You know, not only was this person doing it to a baby, but it's just like, this is someone very important to my family. And so I was just really, really disgusted. And I was just, I think for a while, just really shocked.
How are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm okay. I feel a little bit of emotion that's kind of stuck in my belly, but I'm doing okay.
What do you think it's from?
I think just going back to that lived experience, because as I'm sharing with you, I'm seeing it again, right? You know how we walked through the kitchen and just the bedroom and actually seeing what had happened. To go through that again, it's definitely making my stomach, like, I feel the tension in my stomach.
Well, it's been about 3 months. No, more than 3 months since we did your session. Probably about 3.5 or 4 months at this point. So in that time, I mean, naturally, what you saw, look, I'll say it, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't think you were misusing that word at all. I think it was disgusting. And it was just, It was horrible.
Yeah.
For as horrible as it was for you to re-experience that consciously, how have things changed for you in the last 3.5 months as a result of uncovering this?
How have things changed for me? Well, the way that I approached this was very different than what I used to do, when I was younger, which was just numb myself, hide from it, repress it. And I just never wanted to feel the pain. But when I found out what happened, I really just gave myself the permission to just be kind and compassionate, not only to me in the now moment, but the baby me, little Lena. And I just allowed everything to come up. I didn't push anything back. It was like a couple of weeks, to be honest, where I was just feeling so heavy. I cried and cried and cried. I wasn't able to sleep. And I was kind of heartbroken. I was just really heartbroken that that happened to me. And I just gave myself that space and the grace to just feel everything, anger towards him. And that's something I don't like to feel. And so I also used to push that away. Like, I don't want to feel that anger. I don't want to put that into the world. But now that I'm where I'm at now, it's like I need to be able to honor myself, right? And
Totally.
so, yeah, just for weeks and weeks, I just felt. And I took a step away from social media for a bit. I took a step away from just everything and I just processed it. And then I got to that space of like, all right, I'm not so angry anymore. What do I do with this knowledge of what I experienced? And I spent a lot of time talking to myself, having conversations, asking myself questions like, what do I want to do with this? How do I really feel about this now? How do I feel about him, the person who hurt me? What do I want out of this experience? And I empowered myself to process it in a way that would serve me, that would serve him, and that would serve other people.
And I commend you for that. I think it is amazing what you've done with that. I absolutely admire how you took that information and ran with it and applied it in what I view as a healthy way, which was just to confront it head on. I also have to say for everyone listening right now, I truly believe the only reason why you saw that was because you were ready to see it. And that if you weren't ready, you wouldn't have seen it. Because,
Agreed.
right, something like
Yeah.
that could potentially be a lot to handle, even if you are ready to see it. So if you're not ready, then yeah, it's like opening up a Pandora's box. But that's just what I see in past life regression is that everyone can handle what is given to them. The higher self, who I believe is dictating what you see, they know what you can handle. So if you weren't ready for it, I don't believe you would have been shown it. I don't want anyone to be scared away by that because, I mean, I do believe that it had to come up for you as well. It's something that had to be brought to the surface
Yes.
in order for you to understand what you've been feeling your whole life, because you were in the dark about it. You had the feelings, but you couldn't put a face to them. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. I actually wholeheartedly agree with you that every experience in our life is presented to us in the exact moment we're supposed to experience it. And you're right. We are given things that we're able to handle. And perhaps at the time it feels like you might not be able to trust that you can, or else it wouldn't have been presented. So I do agree with you on that. Now, when I had my daughter Abby, I just had this really unexplainable, intense, deep rooted fear of her being molested, getting hurt in that way. And I couldn't explain it. It was quote unquote irrational. I think every parent has that concern, but it just was so overwhelming. And I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense. I didn't trust the males in my family that I would think I would trust because, you know, they're my family and I have a good relationship with them. I know them. They're good people. But when she was first born, I just didn't trust specifically males. Females, it was different. It was males. And when I learned what happened after our session, Daniel, I called my sister and I processed the session with her. And she's the one who reminded me, she goes, oh my gosh, that makes sense because, you know, when Abby was really young, like you really didn't want, you know, our brother-in-laws to like bathe her or do anything like that. Like you were really fearful. And the dots started to connect, like it all makes sense. So to find out where it comes from, I feel like a sense of relief from it. Like, oh my gosh, it makes sense now. And because I know, it gives me the opportunity to process and heal that part of me so that I'm not projecting my trauma onto my daughter because I realized that's what I was doing. Does that make sense?
I mean, it totally makes sense. And just thank you so much for sharing that and being open and vulnerable. If there was someone in a similar situation or position as you who uncovered this information, but decided to treat it as if it was a figment of their imagination, what would your suggestion be for them?
To ask themselves why they would rather see it and treat it as a figment of their imagination. Because I think it's important to understand that. Because once you understand that and you bring that to the surface, I think that's going to be supporting you in the next stage of perhaps being able to face the fact that it actually happened. I feel like when it comes to something like this, there's a lot of fear of what it might mean about them, who they are, what they deserve. And what I would say to them is there's nothing that anyone ever does to ever deserve something like that. The shame, the guilt is something that is for the perpetrator to feel and face and go through. It's not them.
And I think so on the flip side of that, if that's the choice that someone makes to treat it that way, as if it is just a figment of their imagination, it's okay because it's the choice that they're making. So I don't think that there's any wrong or right choice here. I think it's just about whatever you decide is best for you.
There's definitely no wrong or right. I feel like we use those terms too much. It truly is what works for you.
Although I would highly encourage to look at it though, and to
for
take all those
sure.
things into consideration. But yeah.
Yes, I was going to say, but I do caution that things that don't get addressed and resolved will continue to show up in your life in various ways. And so, depending on the kind of life that you want to co-create, if you want to be able to be free from that, if you want to understand where you're at, or if there's trust issues, whatever it is that you'd want out of life, not addressing something like this is going to take you longer to get there. But it's not wrong. It's definitely not wrong to not want to. Yeah.
And from what I've seen as a practitioner is if these things aren't dealt with in one life, then most likely they're going to reoccur in a future incarnation until you take care of it and deal with it. So it's not easy. It probably won't. I mean, still, I can only imagine for this because it's like I haven't personally experienced it, or at least I'm not aware of it. I mean, think anything is a possibility. But why kick the can down the road?
Mm.
If you're confronted with it, deal with it. Still, it's your choice. But that's why I admire you really going for it, because look, it didn't take you long afterwards. And then I hopped on Instagram that night you were talking about. I was like, holy shit. Like, wow. But I think still you were ready. And I don't want that to take away from anyone else who receives that information, but then says, you know what, I want to sit on this for a little while and then I'll make my move in a week, a month, a couple months, whatever it is, as long as I digest it. Like, still, I think it was great what you did, but I don't think anyone has to do that. It was just, it was right for you.
Exactly. Everyone has their own path and everyone deals with things very differently. And it's really about honoring your process. If you need to take a couple months, a couple years, whatever process feels right to you, that's what I encourage, because it's different for everybody. And there's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just doing it the best way that you can is what's important.
Totally agree. Anything else you want to touch on for that one?
You know what, where I'm at right now, because I'm a spiritual medium and this person who abused me passed away years ago, I ended up connecting with him and having a conversation with him. And in this moment, I feel very peaceful with what happened. But I'm also aware that sometimes it'll come up later in life, certain situations, it'll come up and I will deal with it as it comes up. But in this moment right now, I'm grateful to have come to that awareness. And I'm grateful for how things have played out. And I'm grateful for where I'm at right now. So thank you for that, Daniel, because you did a phenomenal job guiding me through that experience. It was scary. It was a very scary experience. And I'm glad that you were there to hold my hand.
Thank you. And also that was figuratively, not literally. Because I was taught that we don't do that during a session. So
yeah, no, we were on Zoom. So
yeah.
Definitely figuratively speaking. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. It really means a lot to me. And you did a great job. And I'm so proud of what you did with the information that was presented. You did a great job. So with that said, what else came up for you during the session?
I know we got to, I got to tap into a couple of lifetimes, different lifetimes. Another thing that came up that was really important to me, and we talked about this really briefly, was that my daughter, her soul was the soul of the pregnancy that I voluntarily chose to terminate years ago. And it was something that kind of haunted me for a long time. When I was younger, I got pregnant. I wasn't ready to have a child. And so I got an abortion. And it was something that just stayed with me for a very, very long time. The guilt and the wondering. And, when the years pass, it's like, oh, she would, the baby would have been 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. And so I always wondered about that. And then I saw a spiritual medium years ago, and she said that she felt that in a different lifetime, I was denied children. And so when I had the birth of my daughter, it's just kind of like this feeling of finally. And I always say this to people, I'm just like, I don't know if it's just me. I mean, I hope everyone feels this way about their children, but I love my daughter so much. Like, she is just a wonderful soul. I mean, I can go on for hours, but I won't. But I love her so deeply. And to find out from that session with you that she is the soul from my first pregnancy, there was just so much relief. And it was kind of like a funny moment for me. We're like, yeah, she's pretty stubborn, so I can see her not wanting to give up. Like, she's like, you're going to be my mom. And that was a very powerful moment when I was given that confirmation that, yes, it's the same soul.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really, really cool.
Yeah. I was like, whew. And then the other lifetimes, I mean, we were married a couple of, I think 2 different lifetimes that I tapped into.
Yeah, that happens a lot for me.
Yeah, I know. You told me a certain number of past life partners that you've met in this lifetime. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's cool to reconnect.
Yeah.
Because I remember like going over the number with you and then
Yeah.
thinking after, I'm like, oh man, I forgot about 3 of them. Like,
Wow, if there was 3 more than what you've already told me, I mean, that's quite a bit.
I mean, there have been some since your session too. So like,
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I loved, I hope you don't mind me sharing this. But you're like, gosh, I meet all my past life partners and then I'm supporting them and helping them find their partner in this lifetime. And it's like, when is it my turn? And I love that.
oh, thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
I think so. Thank you.
No, because you are helping other people. You know what I mean? Like you're helping other people find their partners, and you're doing that with like authenticity, and you're genuine about it. There's nothing behind it other than you wanting to help them.
Thank you.
And I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, like for that, it's one of those things where I want to believe in love and love being universal. And when you read a fairy tale or watch a movie with a happy ending or whatever may be part of the equation, it's what comes to mind for me is when, you know, 2 quote unquote soulmates will be or will say to each other, oh, yeah, we'll be together in another life. I love that concept. But from being on the other side of it, it's actually quite heartbreaking for me to see that we come back in different roles. So, like, for example, my friend Yasmin, we talked about it on an episode, so I know it's cool to talk about that we're just very close friends. Like she's like a sister to me, and we joke around all the time. We just naturally settled into that when we first met. But she brought up something to me that kind of was a little gut wrenching. She said, it's like we don't have to have that dynamic now because our marriage was good. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, one, that makes sense. But like that sounds horrible. That what you only have to reconnect or be with someone again if it was bad and you have a lot of things to work out. Because look, I don't know how it works. I don't know. I guess it resonates. Like it does what she said. And I was just like, damn, wow. Yeah. So I hope that that's not the case. Like, I hope that there are, you know, some wild cards there where you had a great marriage with someone and then you get to have another great marriage with them. You can learn other lessons along the way. But yeah, that's crazy. But maybe
you answered my question actually, because I was going to ask you, have you had anyone who has in this lifetime who's married to the same soul from a previous lifetime? And it sounds like it's a no.
Well, no.
You have?
Yeah, but they're not always happy marriages. So.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Then again, there are some marriages where they've been together before and they are happy in this life. So I don't know if that means that there aren't going to be problems that evolve down the road or if it's a false sense of happiness, but I don't know. It feels genuine when they say it, where it's those tears of joy of like, oh my God, we've been together before. Like, it's so great that we're together again.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done a session where it's a couple, or is that something that's feasible, you know, or it has to be like a one-on-one facilitation?
I've done group regressions with couples, but I've also done individual sessions with couples. I mean, with members of a couple and had them see virtually the same thing, but just from a different vantage point.
Got it.
I've even had couples who have had friends who have seen those dynamics from a different vantage point, which is fascinating. So I'm hearing this for the third time now.
That's actually it's really cool. Yeah.
It's all fascinating. And I wish there was an actual rule book that shows how the rules are dictated with regards to karma and what we're here to learn and what lessons there are that are supposed to be at play. Because, you know, for me personally, I find past life regression to be so valuable because just like we were talking about for you, the feelings are there, but then we just have a deeper awareness of it. But I think at the same time, how that can kind of interfere for someone like me, because this is my life. I'm just surrounded by this. I see just the different aspects from different dynamics from everyone. So in my own life, I think that's where I get hung up sometimes is what's the lesson here? But with that, I may be overthinking it. I may be putting thought into something that requires no thought and just seamless action of just being and doing. And still, I wouldn't trade the information for anything because it definitely it settles the nerves or the feelings when you're able to just feel like you understand. Because I still don't know if it's definitively real, but it feels real.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really see it as being detrimental. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But it can be slightly overwhelming if you allow it to be. And I put myself in those situations because I allow myself to think about it. When I can make the choice to not think about it and be like, you know what, I'm just going to take this for face value. I don't need to think deeper. Yeah, I'm working on that.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I it's definitely not detrimental at all. Like we said earlier, whatever comes up is meant to come up for you. Everything happens in divine timing, your own divine timing. So if you choose to evolve and grow from the experience of what you've learned, then how do I say this? It's exactly what you said. It's how you choose to process what you've experienced in a session, what you come across. And I think that's just with anything in life too, right? Like whatever happens, the experiences that you have a choice in how you view it and how you process it and what you do with the information.
Definitely. And what's coming up for me right now is thinking about dynamics that are unhealthy. And 9 times out of 10, when someone is presented with a dynamic that's been unhealthy, not only in this life, but in past lives as well, the higher self will almost always say, walk away, walk away, walk away. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be putting an end to this. But there have been those rare exceptions where the higher self has said, you need to stay and work this out. That's what you need to do with this. And look, I can't rule out the possibility that the person is so afraid to walk away that they don't somehow project that answer as the one that ends up coming out. But then there are also the ones where, like, I think it'd be best for me if I leave, but then they receive that information. Now, also, these are not abusive dynamics. That's the other thing I have to put in there, is that the ones that I'm thinking about were not ones where they were being physically or verbally abused. There were just personality conflicts. So I don't know if there's always a clear-cut answer for how you're supposed to deal with something, because in that situation, I mean, I would go for the probabilities of, okay, well, probably walking away is the best plan of action here. But then are you doing your karmic duty? Because what if it's that small percentage where you're supposed to stick it out?
Yeah, love that.
But I'm always going to just shift to the side of, if it's toxic, walk.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah. Then again, I'm just a past life regressionist, so what do I know?
Not just, but I hear you.
Well, anything else come up for you in the session? Anything else you'd like to touch on?
So certain things that actually I did want to talk to you about, Danny, because it wasn't clear. So for example, I remember 67 lifetimes, right? And then I remember, I think it was like, I was saying like 18, 16 or something like that. And it made me question like how the lifetimes that overlap. And I have no idea if I'm making sense right now. But do you remember this? Because we asked like, okay, I was curious how many lifetimes I've lived. And then my higher self was like 67. And then 1816, I think those were the numbers that kept coming out. We talked about this very briefly, how time is not linear in the way that we understand it as humans. How does that work? Like that's a question that has stayed with me since I went back and listened to our session. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's really interesting. Like, how does that work? Oh, the question was how many years have I lived?
Okay.
Yeah, and then it was the 1816, and then lifetimes was 67. And if you calculate it, right, in the way that we understand it, let's say 50, 60, 70, 80 years, I mean, it's more than 1816.
So, I mean, there are a bunch of possibilities. This way, I'm just going to try to do the math on that really quick. Because that would average out to approximately 30 years of life, if I'm doing my math right.
Yeah. And
probably a little less than 30 years, because they had to be the high 20s. So, I mean, there are possibilities. Let's just start with linear time. Maybe you lived a lot of lives where you died really young and you just didn't live a full life. Maybe there are a couple old lives or long lives sprinkled in there. Well, maybe you just didn't live long lives. That's one possibility. Then, I mean, that also begs the question of how long do we go between incarnations?
Mm-hmm.
And from what I was taught, the average is 9 years, but I don't believe that to be an absolute, because how the hell could we know that? For that one, a question that's often posed to me is, well, how can reincarnation be real when all these people are on the planet right now and the population used to be smaller? Well, a couple different possibilities for that. One is maybe we're just incarnating quicker, and there may have been larger windows in a linear sense before. Maybe there are souls coming from elsewhere, or maybe we are living multiple lives simultaneously. So it's like our
Mm-hmm.
souls are splitting into different vessels. So that's the possibility with those. Then again, with yours, we're looking at it through a linear lens.
Mm-hmm.
Because what if you were living more than one life at one time and you were living longer lives than just those 30-year averages, if we're going to go by the average of what that number would be? So, I mean, that's a possibility too.
Yeah.
It's a possibility that there's more jumping around. Maybe we're not going on a linear time sense, because maybe in a linear sense, you're going to reincarnate in 4237 BCE in your next life. Now, I mean, I know that deviates from just the linear thinking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then again, it's just linear thinking.
Exactly. That's I'm like, I get it. I know what you're saying.
And then there's always the possibility the information was muddled when it came out. I don't believe that to be the case. Maybe a zero was left off somehow. You know what I mean with that one?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Still, I don't believe that to be the case, but it's possible.
Yeah.
I think just as humans, we think in such a linear sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very difficult to think in a non-linear sense, because that's all we know. We've been talking now for an hour. Or no, not an hour yet. So my linear thing is wrong there. We've been talking now for like 45, 50 minutes, but that's all that I can perceive it as, is time moving forward. But is it only moving forward? Or
Exactly.
is there so much that we can't see going on around us and so many different dynamics at play? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
See, that's what I believe. Now, and it's not because I have some kind of experience with it, but it's just something within me believes that it's definitely not linear. There's so many possibilities, and I'm open to all of it, because I definitely don't believe that what we know is all there is. Far from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just really curious about it. So when it came up, and now that we're talking about it, I remember it was like, my higher self was like, I'm a very old soul. I'm a very old soul. And that's when all these numbers were coming out. And I'd like to know. I'd like to know how that works. How does time work? I mean, if our souls do split and we're able to live, different lives simultaneously, I mean, I'd love to meet a soul in different bodies in this lifetime. That would just be really fascinating. I would love to see that, experience that, watch that.
So, I mean, I have a story for that one.
Oh.
For me, I went through a regression. This was about 2.5 years ago. Well, actually, there's something I want to touch on before that. In terms of a soul's evolution, I think the theories that are put out there most frequently are that we are, quote unquote, ascending to higher lifetimes or higher levels of consciousness or more advanced lives.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you this, in a linear sense, it's not the case for me. Like, not the case at all. Why
do you say that?
Well, I mean, I'm also just talking in a linear sense right now.
Got it.
There are lives that I've lived that were much more advanced than I am now. And there were lives after that where I was much less advanced than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm saying with that is, are we incarnating on a linear time, or are we just jumping around? Like, so even though I view it that way, maybe those lives haven't happened yet. Maybe they've yet to happen. I somehow have a recollection of them. Or maybe in my next life, just like I was saying for yours, maybe I'm going to incarnate into 432 CE. And yeah, I'm saying CE right now because I learned about BCE when I was in a history class in college. And what the hell is BCE? I learned it was before the Common Era, and then after zero was CE, the Common Era.
I was like, what is he? What? When you said CE, I was like, huh?
Yeah, so CE takes the place of AD.
Got it.
And BCE takes the place of BC, which I think is a little confusing because I see.
Yeah, you definitely confused me.
Right, it's more distinguished when you say CE as opposed to AD, but then you just throw an E on the end of the BC and it's, yeah. Okay, anyways. It's like I was having this conversation with my friend Yasmin about time. Like she's like Eastern Standard Time. I'm like, whoa, because we're planning a workshop. And I said, look, you got to be clear right now. Is it Eastern Standard Time or is it Eastern Daylight Time that you're talking about? Like I'll let it fly with everyone else, but if we're planning a workshop, I don't want people showing up an hour early. So, okay. Because then again, for Eastern Standard Time, there are parts of like Central America and Mexico that don't set their clocks back or forward. So they are always in Eastern Time. And okay. Yeah. Anyways, time is my thing. I get very particular about time and the way we label time.
I love it. I felt your passion, Daniel.
So being proper with the CE, the BCE and everything. Yeah. Okay. So there's that. What was the point I was going to make before? Because I feel like it was a good one. Oh, damn it. Do you remember what I was starting to say?
You really went on a tangent.
Ah, damn. Oh, okay. I remember now. I remember.
Okay.
So I had a regression about 2.5 years ago where I visited the in-between space. It was like the planning for my next life. And in this room, it felt like the old computers from before we were born, like the ones that took up like an entire room. And then you'd have the screens that were built into them. And there was this presence like sitting in this chair. And it felt like this presence had just been there for eons. And just like, next. What I was shown on the monitor, I believe it was like 7, 8, or 9 different lives that I could choose from. And they were shown in the level of severity. And when I say severity, I mean the hardships that would be endured during those lives.
Mm.
And some of them, I'm like, I'm a damn fool for not picking those. Some of them are living it up, let me tell you that. And then, of course, there were ones that were much more difficult than the one that I ultimately chose. But what I walked away from just with a feeling of like, because the question wasn't asked specifically. Because that's the thing is you have to be pretty specific with your questions when it comes to the higher self.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember a specific question being asked with regards to the other lives when it came to the selection process. So a while later, it's like I came to this feeling of, oh, wait, I'm in all of those different bodies right now. I'm in all of them, but I'm just consciously in this one. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I felt down the road, where it wasn't just about selecting that one. Because then, of course, I got into thinking about the astrology of all of it. These lives are spread out across like 10 years in a linear sense, no longer than that, probably about 15 years. The astrological configurations are going to be so different. So how does that factor in? Because I believe that we choose our charts based off of the lessons that we have to learn and the energies that are going to assist us in those lessons of growth. Okay, maybe I'm in all of them. And I get a little pissed thinking about that because I'm like, man, that guy in Germany, he's living it up. I mean, of course, he's like a hollow shell inside, but he's living it up nonetheless. Okay, the guy in England, I'm sure he has a good heart, but I wouldn't do well in that one because just a real dud. Oh, the one in Texas? Oh, this huge transformation that took place? I don't know what that's about. That seems fun, but a little extreme because I wouldn't want to go in either direction. Okay. Then we got the one in the Andes. I'm like, I don't do well with the altitude. But then again, in that body, maybe I would. Then you got the one in Thailand. Oh, that just sounded hard, that one. But that was a life where it was going to be very intense up until the Saturn return. So basically the age of 29 or 30. And then things would start lifting from that one. What am I missing? One in New York, I believe. There was a mountain man somewhere, I feel. Yeah.
So 9 lives. You literally got to glean into 9 different lives.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Wow. Love it.
I mean, I wish I could say that that's the weirdest thing that's happened during a session for me. It was really cool to see that and to also walk away feeling like I chose this life for a reason. So I better make the most of it.
Well, okay. Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you feel you chose this lifetime?
I mean, out of all those?
Yes.
if my theory was wrong about being in all those different bodies, and it was just the selection of one life, it was the life where I was going to have the most impact on the world.
Mm.
One of them was going to have an impact with something with psychology. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it would affect that field. And then the others, some of them were just about spiritual growth. I feel like the one in Texas was someone who was going to be somewhat of a revolutionary. And I don't know the England one, but there was something about this life that just caught my eye. And it was the feeling of also the struggle is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And I have the opportunity, at least still that I believe, the opportunity to affect a broader range of the population.
Yeah.
And I think that that's cool. I mean, not to take away from the other lives, though, because they're all important. And I also feel that even if I didn't select those and it was just a one option, like a one option choice, that the lessons that I'm missing out on as a result of not selecting those other lives, that I'll have to do them at some other point if there weren't any overlaps. But there was something about this one. Look, that just opens up a whole other slew of questions, though, because when you incorporate soul families into the equation, if they are a thing, which I believe that they are, but I also believe that people look at it through a very, very black and white lens. Because if I selected all those other, or any of those other lives, then the souls who I've encountered in this life as me, I wouldn't have encountered them in those other lives. So what does that mean? Or is it that there is such a system at place here that we may have a vast soul family, but there are just a select group that we learn with in any given life? So if I had selected the life in Thailand, would I have a different dynamic of a soul family because those were souls that I had to learn from or grow with? You know what I mean with that one?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Because if not, if we only have one life or one body to really, I guess, choose from or pick, it's more simplistic with regards to the dynamics of it all. But I just think it's really cool if we have a bunch of lives to pick from, and then the dynamics that are at play to make all of that happen. Because had I lived any of those lives, there's a very strong possibility I wouldn't have met you or, met my other 15 past life wives. Ones that I'm aware of. But again, there are ones that I'm probably not aware of. But at the same time, would I have met other past life wives in those lives? Because there's karma at play for all of it. So I just think that we collectively look at it through a very black and white lens when gray doesn't even begin to describe the colors of that rainbow.
Yeah.
Damn, that was a good line.
That was. Write it down. Put it in a quote.
That was a really good one.
And Daniel, as you're sharing your thoughts on that, I mean, as a spiritual medium, it makes me think if our soul is able to embody different lifetimes simultaneously. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but you know what I'm saying. If that's the case, how does that affect being able to communicate with someone who's passed? Does that make sense? I don't know if I asked that right.
It does. And
you know what I mean? So how would that work, right? Because on a higher conscious level, I understand there's so many thoughts going through my head. Like, how would that work?
I think the question becomes, are we fully here?
Yeah.
Are we fully in our bodies, or are there fragments of our soul that are still residing on the other side of the veil? Let's just say someone comes to you and they want to reconnect with a loved one who passed away a decade earlier, but that person reincarnated 7 years after they passed away, but you're still able to connect with that part of them. It would suggest that there's still another part on the other side. Or are you connecting with the higher self of that person? Because if that's the case also, you experienced in your session, there is a part of you that is residing in a space and time that we can't see, but maybe that's what you, Lyna, are connecting with when you're facilitating a session for one of your clients. It's hard to grasp it through a linear sense because it's like you're missing a window of if they slip back into our 3D reality.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's this can just go in a lot of different tangents. Like it's fascinating. It's all fascinating to me.
Wait, I thought that I was supposed to be interviewing you on this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm wearing my headphones right now, and with this microphone, I actually like the sound of my own voice, so I'm fine with it. Yeah, this definitely veered in a fun way though. Like, yay!
Yes.
Oh, there's another yay.
Yes. A lot of food for thought, which is, something I definitely can appreciate. A lot of food for thought.
Yeah, it definitely took an interesting turn. So thank you so much for posing those questions. And
of course.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to dive into more of those concepts on other episodes because that was fun. I'll have to have you back again to interview me.
Oh, I would love that. Oh my gosh, please let me interview you.
Yeah.
I have lots of questions.
It's fun doing it when I'm being asked instead of me just speaking unprovoked. Because then I'm like, where am I going with this? I feel more pressure when I'm just going off on my own tangent because I've tried doing a few solo episodes at this point, and they're much more difficult. I may start in a jubilant spirit, but then they become very melancholy. So then I hit that silence. It's so quiet.
You're like,
what's the meaning of life?
What does this all mean? Why am I alone? Why am I talking to myself?
Yeah, that's pretty much what one of the episodes was about. So,
love it.
So not only are you a medium, well, that was fun.
Yeah, thanks. I don't even know where we're going. Where are we right now?
I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. It was inspirational as always, and I appreciate you so much for just being so open and vulnerable. So thank you so much, Lyna.
You're welcome. And as always, thank you too. I mean, I met you for a reason when I was looking for a past life regressionist, and it's been a fun ride. And I look forward to anything and everything that the future holds for you, for me, and however else our journey intertwines. Like, I'm really excited for it.
Oh, ditto squared. That was a good one, huh? Sorry. So, $1 million question. Where can everyone find you?
So my website is www.lovelightandlyna, that's LYNA.com. My Instagram name and my Facebook name and my TikTok name is actually the same, Love, Light, and Lyna.
And what services do you offer?
So I'm a spiritual medium and an intuitive life guide. And the services that I offer are spiritual mediumship sessions, spiritual grief counseling sessions, or intuitive life guidance sessions. And if you're interested and you would like space clearing services, I also offer that.
Do you do that remotely?
No, that I would go into be there physically.
And what's the proximity for that?
The furthest I've had to go is 50 miles out. I'm in Orange County, California. So anything within 50 to 75 miles, I travel to.
Basically, parts of LA County, the bottom half of it, in Orange County, maybe the top of San Diego County?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And out to Riverside, or is that too far?
Riverside, I would be open to that as well, actually.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
But I want
to make sure we cover that range there.
No, I appreciate that. I love the detail. Yes.
Well, time may be my forte, but geography comes in a close second. So.
And I actually also offer mentorship programs as well. So if anyone's interested in taking a deep dive into their intuition, mediumship, on my website, I do offer complimentary 30-minute consultation sessions. So feel free to reach out to me that way, and we can talk about what it is you're exactly looking for.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lyna, and can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Same. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate it. Today was fun.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Woo! Fellow time travelers, your journey through time awaits you. Just want to thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. And if you're interested in discovering who, when, and where you have been throughout time, and you'd like to book a session with me, just go ahead and send me a message on Instagram at The Past Life Regressionist, or you can reach me through my website, yourpastliferegressionist.com.